For generations, both Avon and Mary Kay have been among the leaders in sales opportunities for women wanting to work for themselves. A little bit ago, Deb Killion did an article for the website, and she's with us today. She has experience with both Avon and Mary Kay. We're going to be finding out what it's like to work for these two companies. Before we begin, I want to point out that neither Deb nor I nor the Dollar Stretcher have any financial interest in either Mary Kay or Avon. So whether you go to work for them or not is totally up to you. And again, we just have no financial interest. Our purpose here today is to try to provide you some information to help you make a good decision. Now, Deb, some of our viewers may not know you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Okay, sure, Gary. Thanks for having me once again. I enjoy writing articles for your paper, online publication. My name is Debbie Killion. I live in Arkansas, and I have a home-based business. I do a lot of other things now. I actually don't do Avon or Mary Kay anymore, but I've done a lot of different work-at-home opportunities, and I know that's why you invited me to do these interviews and do the articles. So I actually own a technology business. We do original apps for Microsoft and Google Play. Actually, we're adding Apple, I think, before too long also. My partner likes Apple. So we do technology, we do media production, and I do freelance writing as well. So it's kind of a combination that's kind of media based. So that's actually what I do. That's my business. The Studio by Deb is our local name. Our global name later is going to be Small Town Global. But anyway, I've done a lot of these opportunities, as we talked about before, and I did Avon back in the 80s, which was quite a while ago when I was in college. But I kind of kept up with the company. I do like to see what companies are doing, and they're still doing very well, as is Mary Kay.
Okay, well, let's start with Avon. Please tell us a little bit about the company and its history.
Okay, Avon was created by a guy named David McConnell 127 years ago. Let's see, let's count back. What year would that be? But he noticed, he was kind of a traveling salesman and you know, an entrepreneur during that day. And he noticed that women like to try different perfume samples. They like to, you know, sniff different ones and see what they like to wear and stuff to that their husbands will like or what on them or whatever. So he noticed that, and then he started selling to them. And then he thought, who better to sell to women than women? And so that's kind of how his idea evolved. Is he decided to let the women sell to women, because who knows women better than women and what they might want. And you know, it's developed from that. It's something that people can develop friendships a lot of times with their customers. It's kind of a women's club. Now, this is not discrimination in any way. If any men out there want to do that, we want to make sure and run that disclaimer, Gary, that they can do that if they want to. There probably are some men that sell. There are male products as well, and there are gifts and things like that. But in general, Avon is a company for women, about women.
Now, I know for the article you did a little research to kind of update your information. What did you find? Is the company staying current?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll just say this in general about, you know, we know the economy is still in bad shape right now generally, and you're an expert on that. But the cosmetic industry, as you may or may not have read, is still doing really well. And we think that may be because people are more likely to buy a $13 lipstick or a $5 lipstick or something to make themselves feel and look better than they are a big screen TV, you know, so it's kind of a small ticket item, especially that women can get. But their percentage on commissions, if that's what you mean there, the company itself is doing real well, of course, but the commissions they give their agents is 25% up till $150. Once they sell $150 worth, that's the latest information I found on their, that's on their sales page. After the $150 mark, then they increase that. So they kind of have steps according to how well someone sells. You know, the better you sell, the more money you make, type thing.
Now they say that they're very supportive of their sales reps. Based on your experience, did you find that to be true?
Oh, yeah, there was always someone I could call, and of course that was back in the 80s again. I did sell a little more recently. I believe I did sell for a little while in the 90s. As some extra money. It was always something I could turn to make extra money no matter what I was doing. That's when I was in college and stuff. Yeah, anytime I had any questions or anything, there's always a district manager, someone above you that can answer questions very quickly. And now, of course, they have a website. Well, I'm sure you'll probably ask me that later. but you can do direct sales from the website there as well, and there's also help online.
Now, I know in the article you mentioned that discipline is important for anyone taking on a position with Avon, and that's always true for sales positions. But what other skills and attributes do you think would help someone become a good sales rep?
Well, I think they have to be friendly, and it's just like anything else. Gary, you have a company also, a media company. Whoever is working for whatever company, they're representing the company. They need to remember that. I think they need to know the company inside and out, know what Avon stands for. They have a persona of being very friendly and hospitable to their customers, so they need to be someone that's friendly. You don't want an Avon lady at your door saying, I guess you don't want any lipstick today, do you? I mean, the persona needs to be very positive. They have to believe in themselves, have a lot of self-confidence, be stubborn, like I think I am as an entrepreneur. And, you don't want to be pushy, but you have to present yourself in a confident manner. So people that are extremely shy wouldn't do as well with this. But I will tell you that it's not door-to-door anymore. They do a lot of sales online. So because of that, you might not have to be quite as sociable as you used to have to when you do the door-to-door. But people do expect you to sometimes bring their stuff to them, so you do have to deal with the public directly.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there a way to estimate what the income potential is for someone who, say, maybe works at just part-time, 5 or 10 hours a week, or somebody who tries to make it a full-time job?
Yeah, I think you can estimate in general, but as we know from any kind of business, and that is really what it is, it's kind of an entrepreneurial chance for people to kind of have their own business. It is, you're working for Avon in a sense, but you're an independent contractor. But it depends how much you put into it, as we know. But I would say, well, I will tell you what I made, and this is in the 80s, but not a lot has changed since then in terms of how they do things, other than they've got websites now and stuff where you can actually make the money faster, from my understanding. But I made about $400 to $500 a month on a good month, just working at maybe 5 or 6 hours a week. But I did have regular customers. That was back when they had territories. I worked close to the college campus where I attended at Arkansas State University in the southwest part of town. So I had certain customers that always kind of bought from me. And like any business, if you can get regular customers, then you're going to make more money. But of course, you always look for new ones. You leave books everywhere you can. You have to be pretty assertive, as in any sales job. One Avon lady told me that was really good, that made good money. I think she made maybe $1,000 or more a month at least. That she left books everywhere, everywhere she went. That went where women wait. She said she leaves books. So the more you get the word out there that you do it, the more you talk to your friends and network. And with Facebook now, you can even put up that you're selling Avon on Facebook. I don't think Facebook has any problem with that. People put up and promote themselves all the time on there. So things like that with social media can increase what you can do. But it's hard to estimate really. But if you put a lot into it and make it a full-time job, I would estimate maybe $2,000 or more a month if you're willing to work that hard.
Mm-hmm. And then, now let's change gears a little bit and shift over to Mary Kay Cosmetics.
Okay.
Can you give us a little bit of background to that company?
Yeah, that company is an interesting company too. And I study entrepreneurs because, I look up to a lot of them, and I always want to know how they got to where they got and everything. I have certain ones that I studied. And I did see a documentary on Mary Kay. She was a wonderful lady with very high values. And she always said, she wanted people, we're not promoting religious doctrine or anything here, of course, but she always said put faith first, family second, career third. She had those principles. But her name was Mary Kay Ash. She's now deceased, but she was kind of she said that she was mistreated by her boss and wasn't given equal pay. That was what she said on her website. So she decided to come up with her own company. She quit her job. She wanted to have a way to stay home with her kids and value her time, use her time the way she wanted. So she developed it out of that. She was a real dynamic lady, typical really good sales lady who was quite a success. And she was inspired by the fact that her father ran a tannery, and his hands were real soft after he came in from working in the leather tannery. And she decided to develop some products from some of the chemicals that were not unlike what he used for that, and it kind of developed from there. But it's still a very good company. If you had stock in that company, you'd be doing good as well as Avon. And they kind of cater a little bit to the more higher echelon, you might say. not any snob appeal or anything like that, but they have products that cost more in general than Avon. So they're kind of catering to a little bit more affluent group of people as far as their customer base.
Now, I understand that their Mary Kay's payout structure is a little more generous than Avon, but that comes at a price. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, I think that's important for them to know. I did this about 2 years ago. They have a 50% profit on everything you sell. In other words, what you're gonna do though, you're gonna buy it ahead of time. With Avon, we're comparing and contrasting here. With Avon, you do not have to buy any inventory. As a matter of fact, they don't ever expect you to do that. You just, show them what is in the catalog, show them samples. You can buy samples and things, but you don't have any inventory. With Mary Kay, they actually advise their agents to get up to $2,000 or $3,000 worth of inventory if they can. They don't demand that, but they say the more inventory you have, the better. They don't really want you even taking a salary for yourself until you've got $2,000 or $3,000 worth of inventory. And I don't want that to scare people off because you don't have to do that. They don't require that, but they have a reputation as a company as a cosmetic company that always has product on hand. So that's kind of the way people have gotten used to it. They want to call their agent and say, hey, I need some facial cream. I'm out. Do you have any? Oh, sure. And then you take it to them, you write them a bill, and you keep all of that profit now, see, because you bought the products ahead of time. You've already paid that half. You pay the wholesale price is half of what the product retail value is. So once you sell it to the customer, you just keep the money. So that's how that works. So you really are developing your own store, you might say, in your house or whatever location you have to store it, and people call on you. And once you get a regular customer base, you can make some pretty serious money, but there is some investment in order to have enough stock. And I think that is kind of a reason why people will choose one Mary Kay agent over another, is who has the most inventory. Personally, I think that's something good. So if people have the investment to do that, but I would say don't do that unless you're determined you're going to try to make a living with this, because it is an investment.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the article you mentioned that Mary Kay is maybe a little more of a social organization than Avon. What's that about?
Yeah, a little bit, I think. I mean, I think they kind of have more of a sense of community. They have a lot more get-togethers and stuff than Avon. Avon does have meetings. They have group meetings, district meetings, things like that. I'm not saying they don't. But it just seems like there's this sense of community with Mary Kay. For instance, you don't have the facial parties and things like that with Avon, for example. With Mary Kay, you're supposed to, meet with a group of 8 or 9 or 10 women, and you sell the whole line. That's another difference too. They want you to kind of sell the whole line if you can, because you're going to make a bigger profit, and because the company believes that someone should use the entire regimen. So you have parties with all these people, and sometimes you can make $500 or $600 in one night. That's probably rare, but I've heard of people making that much. But there is this kind of sense of community, I think, a little bit more prevalent, in my opinion, in Mary Kay than Avon. They have huge conventions in Texas and California and different places, and they have these competitions. Now, Avon has those too, but you're familiar with the Pink Cadillac competition. That's the most popular one with Mary Kay. If you sell at a certain level, you get a pink Cadillac. And I wouldn't want a pink Cadillac myself. It's not my favorite color. But it's a status symbol that, you've reached a certain level and everything. They have kind of a presidential club, I believe they call it. And I will tell you, Gary, I've heard of cases where people are making 6 figures with Mary Kay. But I think they're doing it every day, nonstop. When they're standing in Walmart, say, hey, are you a Mary Kay customer yet? They're probably carrying it with them everywhere. You know what I mean? Some of those salespeople that do it all the time. To do that, I think you'd have to kind of live and breathe it.
Well, it would seem like there should be more potential with Mary Kay than with Avon, just because of the payout rate. But again, like you say, you have to have some inventory to do that. And then now, with either company, is it safe to assume that whatever you earn, that you get a paycheck at a reasonable rate, and there's no problems collecting?
No, and you always collect from the customer directly, so that as long as the customer does you right, you're going to be okay. Now, if the customer doesn't pay, you do have a recourse. You can just tell Avon, the customer didn't pay me, and I think they'll usually take care of that. I've never really had that situation. I maybe came across a customer when I did either one of them that might not have had the money right then, but I just said with Mary Kay, I usually wouldn't give them the product till they had the payment, But with Avon, you can just say, well, is there a time I can come back when you'll have the money ready? You know, you just have to kind of deal with them like it's like a business. And they may not always, like with my technology business, not everybody pays when I bill them exactly, you know, but most of the time they do. But you get it straight from the customer, not the company. So you just have to take the initiative and be nice about it, but say, you know, and I can't give you a product until you pay, but what's a good time? You know, and just kind of work it out with them. But I don't see any problems with that really. And I believe you're paid about every 2 weeks. I think each campaign, I'm not sure about Mary Kay, to be honest, on that one. But I know Avon's campaigns run for like 2 weeks. So you'd get money every 2 weeks when you go collect. Mary Kay, I believe it's about the same, but I'm not positive on that. They could find that out at marykay.com.
Now, is there any advice that you'd have for someone who's considering either Avon or Mary Kay?
Well, since we're giving our opinion, I personally prefer Mary Kay because, as you said, I think there is a little more income potential. Not that you couldn't, you know, one person could do better at Avon than Mary Kay or whatever. You know, it depends on their personality, how much time they have to devote, what model of business they want to do, if they want to sell out of the catalog or personally or whatever. But I actually prefer Mary Kay's products. I do still use some of their products. I kind of like them just a little bit better. For some reason, but they're both very good opportunities. I would say just whichever one you choose, go to the websites and check them out, and just make sure that's the one you want to commit to, and just give it your all. You know, if that's what you decide to do. But keep in mind, everyone should keep in mind that if they just do it on the weekend, that's where they're going to get back. You know, just like any job, just like your business, just like my business, Gary. It's what you put into it. I'm learning that with this freelance writing. I'm getting the incomes I never thought I could imagine, only because I work it all the time or every chance I get. You know, you're always on it, always trying to improve your skills, and that's what you get paid for. But either one are good opportunities. I guess if I were going to advise someone, I'd say probably go with Mary Kay because that's my personal preference.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Deb, I want to thank you for spending some time with us today talking about Avon and Mary Kay Cosmetics. We'll have both of their websites as well as Deb's website and the Dollar Stretcher website listed at the end of this video. We want to thank all our viewers for taking the time to watch, and we hope that whatever decision you make for your own home business, that is very successful. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much.
Good luck to everybody.